Hello, this is Doe Wilkes with another edition of Old School Boxing Talk. This one here, we're going to. I put a post up on Facebook, and I said I was going to do a breakdown, a preview of next Saturday's Shawn Porter Danny Garcia fight, and that's what I'm going to do here now. The fight is next Saturday, September 8th, on Showtime. I believe it'll start about 9-10 o'clock. But it's going to be a good fight. It's going to be a nice card. As always, the PBC gives you your money's worth. So, how did we get here? Okay, we got here because, let's start with Shawn Porter. Shawn Porter was a young contender, worked his way up the ranks, was undefeated, the only drawback to that point was he had a draw with Joel Diaz. He beat him the first time he had a draw, second time he won the decision. Shawn Porter was, he was but I don't think Shawn Porter wasn't the Shawn Porter he is now. And a lot of people didn't think he would become the Shawn Porter he is now. He was just another one of the guys that didn't seem like he had a lot of power, just mauled you and, thought that wasn't going to really work against the top upper echelon of the welterweight division. But lo and behold, Shawn Porter fought his way to the IBF championship, the IBF welterweight championship, which was held by Devin Alexander. Okay, Devin Alexander held the IBF welterweight title, lost it to Shawn Porter. Now, this was during the Mayweather era. Here's the thing about, I'm going to touch on this a little bit, and I'm going to leave it alone. People keep, one of the things people don't give enough credit for is being undisputed. And one of the things that Floyd Mayweather never was is undisputed. Floyd Mayweather held the WBC and WBA titles, and he won the WBO title when he beat Manny Pacquiao, but he was never the IBF champion. No, I get that. No, he was the IBF champion. When Floyd Mayweather first won the welterweight title, he beat Zab Judah and won the WBA and the IBF because Zab Judah had lost the WBC title in a fight previous to that to oh damn, I forgot his name. Floyd would wind up winning the WBC title. Anyways, along the way of Floyd winning that WBC title, Floyd wound up vacating the WBA and the IBF title. That happened there. Zab Judah was the undisputed champion because Zab won the undisputed title from Corey Spinks. And like I said, when he lost to, oh damn, I'm drawing a blank on the boy's name now. But when he lost his fight to this guy, he lost the WBC title to him and the lineal championship to this guy. And Carlos Baltimore. Sorry, just came to me. Carlos Baltimore. He lost it to Carlos Baltimore. And Zab wound up fighting Floyd. Floyd won the WBA and the IBF titles. Of course, Floyd promptly vacated them, saying, I want the green belt. I need the green belt. And Carlos Baltimore, what fans were hoping for was that Baltimore was such a weak champion, but nobody, that they was hoping that Arturo Gatti, who Floyd had victimized and just beat the shit out of Gatti, could knock him off, and they would derail Floyd from being the lineal welterweight champion. Well, Mr. Baltimore beat the shit out of Arturo Gatti, sent Gatti into retirement. And then Floyd wound up beating Baltimore, winning the WBC title. But Floyd had, like I said, vacated the WBA and the IBF titles to win that, because he didn't want to hold it. He was, So the thing about it, Floyd was never undisputed. So, there's people talk about Floyd was undisputed, Floyd was this and that. Let's be clear, Floyd was never the undisputed welterweight champion, which is something that Earl Spence Jr. wants to be. Floyd was a unified champion, a.k.a. Keith Thurman used to be, but Floyd was never undisputed. Okay, enough about Floyd, enough about that. So let's get back to Shawn Porter. So Shawn Porter wins the IBF welterweight championship. He makes 2 defenses of it before defending it against Kell Brooks. Kell Brooks then beats Shawn Porter for the IBF title. And Kell Brook made 2 or 3 defenses against the likes of guys named JoJo Dan and some other jabroni before Kell Brooks got the opportunity to jump up to middleweight to fight Golovkin for big money. Because at this time, Earl Spence, who was a monster at the time, and, you know, Floyd was saying to these cats, look, you know, this guy's going to be the thing. And this was Earl Spence was only 15-0. And Floyd was trying to get get Keith Thurman to fight Earl Spence for both his titles. And Keith Thurman was like, nah, I'm not fighting him. He ain't fought nobody. He don't know nothing, blah, 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 blah. Because what happened was Keith Thurman had won the WBA regular title. When the rules of the WBA are as needed. When you are when you hold more than one title, the WBA then elevates you to what it calls super champion. So thus, you don't have to make these mandatory defenses. The regular champion handles that crap. And that way you could make more big fights. And of course, they can get bigger sanction fees. Of course, the WBA is not doing that kinds of heart. They're going to get a sanction fee from you. They got a guy called the regular champion who they going to get a sanction fee from him. And then below him, they got another guy called the interim champion. Whatever the fuck that is. I don't know. I don't know. And the funny thing is the WBA is the oldest of all these sanctioning bodies. Go figure. Anyways, so the fuckery aside of the WBA and WBC, let's get back. Shawn Porter, Shawn Porter's lost that title, so Shawn Porter's on a comeback trail. He's fighting his way back to the top. He gets a shot at Keith Thurman for the WBA welterweight title. And Shawn Porter gave Keith Thurman a hell of a fight. He lost the fight, but he put a hell of a fight on. And then after that, Shawn went back to doing what Shawn does, fighting his way back to another shot at the title. Well, in term here, Keith Thurman had fought Danny Garcia, who Danny Garcia won the vacant WBC title when Floyd retired. Danny Garcia fought Robert Ghost Guerrero for the vacant WBC welterweight title. Now, Danny Garcia beat Robert Guerrero, and now Danny Garcia and Keith Thurman were now holding the belt that Floyd vacated. And Danny turned around and fought Keith. Keith Thurman defeated Danny Garcia, so Keith Thurman was the unified champion. Well, of course, as the WBC, they do the fuckery they do. They had some eliminators and this and that and silver titles and all this other horse shit. So it came down that Shawn Porter was Shawn Porter was the #1 contender, but Danny Garcia was somehow the mandatory contender. Don't ask me. Don't ask me. I don't know how the fuck that works either. Anyways, Keith Thurman, who's still out injured, the WBC decided to strip Keith Thurman of the title because look, you out, the WBC, to its credit, and I will give the WBC credit, they could have said, hey, okay, Shawn, you're the silver champion, you fight Danny Garcia, you do all these fights, and then when Keith comes back, you and Keith will hook up to unify the WBC title again. They could have done that, but to the WBC's credit, which I don't give them a lot of credit because they do a lot of fuckery, but to their credit, the WBC said, nah, Keith, we're taking this belt from you, man, and this belt got to keep moving. So Shawn Porter, who was offered a fight with Earl Spence Jr., and this is the funny thing about all these cats in Earl. All these cats said if Earl goes out and wins a title, they'll fight him. Earl beats Kell Brook, who beat Shawn Porter, but yet Shawn and Kenny Porter said, nah, we going the WBC route. They want no smoke. After saying that, if you win a title, we'll come see you. Now, that was Shawn's old title. And the funny thing to me was I wondered why Shawn Porter never even tried to get a rematch with Kell Brook. I mean, it's like, okay, I said in an earlier video that I didn't think that Kovalev would want a rematch with Alvarez. I still don't think it's Kovalev calling for that rematch. But the point is, Kovalev has come out and said he wants that immediate rematch with Alida Alvarez. Sean Porter, when he lost the title to Kell Brooks, I never read or heard anywhere Sean Porter was demanding his return bout. Now, maybe there wasn't a rematch clause in the contract. That would be a Sean and Kenny's part. But they could have, put the word out there, look, we want a rematch. And pretty much could have got one. And I'm sure the IBF would have gave them a shot before JoJo Dan. I'm just saying. But they never asked for a rematch with Kell Brook. So, okay, so now they decided to go another route. Okay, and they went to Sean went to the WBA route, lost to Keith Thurman. Danny Garcia, who's the WBC champion, fought a unification against Keith Thurman, lost to Keith Thurman. Keith Thurman, of course, is hurt. Now, the WBC, of course, tells Keith, we're not going to let you hold this title hostage. We're going to strip you the title. And Danny Garcia and Sean Porter are going to fight for this vacant title. Now, earlier before that happened, Sean Porter was trying to fight Danny Garcia. And Danny Garcia was like, it could be done. The money's right. We can do it. And the thing is, Danny and Angel held off on that fight. And the smart thing is they did, because now the fight's worth more money than it would have been before. And also the WBC title's attached to it. So, here we go. I'm going to clear something up in this video, and I don't care if you don't agree with me. My email, my Gmail is oldschoolboxingtalk@gmail.com. Hit me up on Facebook. If you don't agree with me, you can tell me you don't agree with me. I don't care. It's my opinion. But in my opinion, I'm tired of hearing the big thing that they say: fighters, this fighter fears this fighter fears that fighter. No, fighters don't fear other fighters. You get over that bullshit in the amateurs. When you're in the amateurs, you're fighting the best guys available. The best guys in your weight class. And you ain't picking and choosing who you're fighting. There's a tournament. And if you're number 2, you're fighting number 4. And you work your way up that tournament. And you're fighting the best possible guys. So in the amateurs, all that fear about one man fearing another man, that's bullshit. That's not the case. What happens is when you're an amateur, you're doing it for the love of the sport. When you become a professional, and you get a manager, and you get an agent, or an advisor, you now become a business. See, the difference between amateur boxing and pro boxing is amateur boxing, love of the sport. Pro boxing, business. And what happens is a lot of times these fights don't happen. It's not because the fighters don't want to happen. It's because their teams, the people around them, don't want that fight at this particular moment for the money. Now, okay. Deontay Wilder, Anthony Joshua. Do I think Anthony Joshua's afraid of Deontay Wilder? No. No, he's not. Deontay Wilder won the bronze medal. The guy that beat Deontay Wilder to win the silver medal, the silver medalist guy, was beaten by Anthony Joshua in the amateurs in that same Olympics. So do I think Anthony Joshua's afraid of Deontay Wilder? No. Do I think Eddie Hearns is afraid of Deontay Wilder? Absolutely. Because when all you have is Anthony Joshua, you're damn right. The Hearns don't want that fight yet. Because they're trying to capitalize on that fight to get the most money possible before they put their boy out there to get his chin checked. And they're capitalizing when they offered the $50 million. Anthony Joshua went on there, and this is what I believe. It might not be fact, but I believe Anthony Joshua's like, look, man, I'm tired of you chirping. I'm tired of here. You give me $50 million plus a percentage of the back end. We got to fight. And when Deontay Wilder called his bluff, Eddie Hearns went back and said, what the fuck are you doing? No. So Eddie Hearns had to use trickery to get the Anthony Joshua out of that situation. I don't think it was so much that Anthony Joshua was afraid of the fight. I think that Eddie Hearns was afraid of the fight, because Eddie Hearns is like, no, if you're going to give me $50 million, that fight must be worth a lot. And Eddie Hearns said, and maybe we get over to the UK, because Eddie Hearns is always trying to make the most money for himself, not Anthony Joshua, for himself. Because if you look at the way Eddie Hearns moves to promote Eddie Hearns, not so much where Anthony Joshua says, oh yeah, I bring him along with. But let's get back to what we're talking about. Sorry, got sidetracked. So, this next Saturday, Sean Porter and Danny Garcia will meet for the WBC title that was vacated when the WBC stripped Keith Thurman. And I'm going to give you my breakdowns of the fight. I've watched Danny Garcia. Now, I'm sorry, let me go back a little bit. I've given you the history of Sean Porter. Let me give you the history of Danny Garcia. Danny Garcia is a guy that actually got here, wasn't supposed to be here. if you look at the way things in boxing stacked up, Danny Garcia was not supposed to be here. Danny Garcia was put in there against Eric Morales. Eric Morales is a legend. Eric Morales moved up to 140 pounds, won the WBC title. And Eric Morales was supposed to pretty much end out his career because they were trying to set up Eric Morales versus Manny Pacquiao only this time for that, hopefully for the 140-pound title. To get Manny to come down at 140, do it a fourth time, whatever. So, what happened is Danny Garcia interrupted those plans because they were thinking Danny Garcia was just another kid here, you know. They didn't think there was nothing special about Danny Garcia. And Danny Garcia, if you watch Danny Garcia fight, you might not think there's something special. But Danny Garcia is stinky good. Danny Garcia is stinky technically sound. And Danny Garcia broke down Morales and put Morales' ass away. And won the WBC title. But he still doesn't look like, Danny Garcia doesn't win fights and look like, he's not an Earl Spence looking fighter. He doesn't look like Earl Spence just dominate people. He just beats you. Then Amir Khan thought, shit, this gets easy pickings. I can go in here and I can easily pick up this belt from this guy here and, stake my claim because, see, at the time, the guy before them, Tim Bradley, was a unified champion. And when Bradley moved up to welterweight, now they trying to, everybody trying to make their claim at 140 pounds. They following Tim Bradley. So Amir Khan thought, I could pick up the BC belt because this Danny Garcia kid ain't nothing. Well, for the first couple rounds, Amir Khan was outboxing Danny, doing what he does. But Amir does what Amir does, which is Amir gets happy, Amir throws a combination, he lands a couple, gets happy, looks at his shot, dropped his hands, and Danny Garcia knew it, and Danny Garcia hit him with that damn hook. And Amir Khan went down. And Amir Khan woke up because of the way he hit the ground. He was sleeping, he went down, he hit his head, he woke the fuck back up, fell down again, went back to sleep, got the fuck back up, woke up again, and finally beat the count of 8. So, when he got up, the referee could have stopped it then, because the way he fell after Danny hit him, the referee could have stopped it. But they let him go on, and Danny quietly put Amir Khan back to sleep. The only thing Danny didn't do was give him his noni and give him a blanket, but he put him back to sleep. So, now Danny Garcia is the man at 140. He fights Lucas Matisse, who was the boogeyman at 140. He was coming up, Lucas Matisse, the machine. He was just destroying everybody. And I'm going to tell you something. Yes, I fell prey to the hype. I didn't think much of Danny Garcia, and I thought Lucas Matisse was going to beat Danny Garcia. I'm not going to lie to you. I fell prey to the hype. On the undercard of Mayweather-Canelo, Danny Garcia proved to me and everybody else that thought that, Lucas Matisse was the shit, that Lucas Matisse wasn't shit. That Danny Garcia actually, during that fight, exposed Lucas Matisse as, he'll hang in there, but he doesn't really deal well with adversity. He doesn't really deal well. He's a front runner. If he can blitz you and control the fight, he's great. But when you give him too much resistance, because when Danny Garcia dropped Lucas Matisse honestly was looking for a way to quit. And Danny Garcia could have got rid of him, but Danny Garcia said, I got to fight one. I'm just going to, win this thing and keep going. Because I'm not going to get his guy to give a chance, get his guy a shot, get a lucky shot in, and do something stupid. Even though it don't look like at any time in that fight that Matisse could hurt Danny. But, we knew Danny could hurt Matisse. We saw that. We saw the look on Matisse. We saw Matisse's face, how fucked up he was, and Danny was doing some damage. So, okay, Danny, pretty much on that card, Danny shows the world, yes, I'm the real fucking deal. All right, Danny, much props. So then Danny goes in after that. He fights he fought a rematch with Morales and dusted off Morales. After the Matisse fight, I think he fights Zab Judah. He fights Zab. Then he has that fight with Herrera, which Danny, I think, took Herrera lightly. Herrera's a damn good fighter. But I think Danny took him lightly, and, Danny escaped. Danny got the decision. Did he deserve the decision? No, but he got it. Look, they're nice when as a fighter, the champion gets the nod on nights and he's not at his best. But, the old saying in championship fights is you have to beat the champ. So if a round is close, 9 out of 10 times, they're just going to give it to the champion. When you win to beat the champ, you got to beat him decisively. And Herrera won a couple rounds decisively, but there were too many close rounds. And unfortunately, those close rounds, they gave him to Danny, and Danny got the decision. Enough said. Okay, now we move Danny to 147, where Danny, he wins the WBC welterweight title. Again, Danny Garcia, beats Robert the Ghost Guerrero, who was a former WBC champion. He was that silver intern, whatever bullshit they pulled, the same way Victor Ortiz got his. Some bullshit way, but he's a world champion, whatever. Anyhow, Danny Garcia beats Robert the Ghost Guerrero, who I do like the Ghost. I really do like Robert the Ghost Guerrero. He beats this guy. He beats Guerrero, wins the WBC title. Danny, the problem with Danny is Danny's inactivity. Danny Garcia is a businessman. So Danny Garcia is not hungry like he was at 140. And that's what people seem to forget. I watched Danny Garcia. At 140, Danny Garcia was fighting often and fighting the best monsters. So I wasn't too angry at Danny when he started, with the Rod Selko fight. Because when you fight Morales, Matisse, Morales, Zab Judah, Amir Khan. When you're fighting these top-level guys, fight after fight, each fight takes something out of your body as a fighter. Each time you step in there, your body gets beaten down from training camp and sparring and from the fight itself. Because sometimes the fights in sparring are tougher than the fights themselves, and your body gets beaten down. So I could understand Angel saying, "Look, we need a busy, but we need to, bring it down a level." But Danny had raised the bar so high for himself that we only want to see Danny gets the best. And what I've seen about Danny Garcia is you want to see Danny Garcia at his best, you got to give him somebody that challenges him. Danny likes it. See, I understand from a business standpoint and from a health standpoint where Angel's like, we had that rough road at 140 where we established ourselves, we proved ourselves. Now we're going to step it down. And I'm upset a little bit because Danny had a chance to win the IBF title when he fought Lamont Peterson, but decided he didn't want to make 140. They fought the fight at 144, and Danny got the nod. It was a close fight. But that's another monster on Danny's resume because Peterson is no joke. Okay, so now, we get Danny wins the belt. Now Danny's lost the belt to Thurman. Again, another top-level guy that Danny Garcia is fighting. This is his first loss. Okay, now Danny comes back. No, I think Danny had a fight in between his fight with Thurman. The point is, okay, the point is Danny Garcia pretty much when Danny Garcia fights the Monster Factory. He doesn't go over there and fight the little Sister Marys of the poor unless it's like a step up. There was a time that I would have considered Bam Bam Rios, a mini monster, but Bam Bam Rios he's not little Sisters of the poor, but he's not. He's not. I'm going to say I think Danny Garcia probably got hurt more in sparring than he did in training and sparring in the gym than he did in the fight with Brandon Rios. So, that aside, the Rios thing aside, now we're back. Here's Danny Garcia, Sean Porter. This is going to be a fight. A lot of people are saying, well, Danny doesn't like when you do this. Danny doesn't like fighters that are on him, that stay on him, that maul him, that are physical with him, and that's going to be Sean Porter all night. Sean Porter's going to look to get in there. Danny's not a mover, but Danny's very, very defensively sound. And I don't know if Danny may want to keep it out in a riddle ring because he showed against Rios. Danny showed against Bam Bam Rios. He can fight on the inside when he wants to. And he also showed that he can control the fight on the outside when he wants to because he had Rios on the outside with that jab that set up that right hand and sent Bam Bam home. But Bam Bam, unfortunately, Bam Bam he was a lightweight. Sean has shown that he's just a fucking animal. That, when you step in a ring with Sean Porter, you better, this ain't no little night off, pal. You better come back a lunch or two, and you better be able to go, because Sean Porter's going to test you. Now, who do I give the edge? There's a lot of things here I give. I give a lot of edges to Sean Porter. I give some edges to Danny Garcia. I think Sean is the stronger fighter of the two because with Danny's coming up from, I think Sean is the stronger fighter. There's also talk Danny's talking about, oh, I'm going to move up to 154 after this fight. I don't think so because Heyman's already said the winner of this fight is going to fight Spence now. And I believe that if Danny Garcia thinks he's going to take that WBC title and skip over to the zone, I don't think that's going to happen. But who knows? In boxing, and here again, it's not because Danny Garcia is afraid of Errol Spence. It's because Danny and Angel have such a big life outside of boxing, everything set up for life after boxing, that they are at the point where they're saying, you know what, pay us. Because we're looking at the quality of our life after boxing. So it's not like we don't want to fight Errol Spence. Oh, we'll fight anybody. But it's got to be financially worth our while. And that's why, say, well, you got Eddie Hearn to the zone, which I don't think Danny Garcia is going to fuck over to the zone because he's not going over there. He's not, because he's not going to get paid. Trust me, he's not going to get paid. And he's not going to realize you go to the zone fails, then what the fuck, burnt your bridge over here. So Danny Garcia and Angel Garcia are businessmen, first and foremost. I think they like to use the leverage. They like to use the leverage of the zone until Showtime recently came out and re-upped their commitment to PBC. So now Danny and Angel pretty much, okay, you can use that bullshit, but we all know that shit ain't happening. So, okay. In this fight, I think this fight's going to be a very, very entertaining fight. And I think it's going to be a very, very tough fight for both men. And honestly, I believe that Errol Spence is going to get the pickings. Errol Spence is pretty much going to be like a buzzer, just picking off the bones of whatever is left. Because I think Danny Garcia and Sean Porter are going to take so much out of each other. I believe Sean Porter is a physically stronger fighter. But I believe Danny Garcia is the more naturally skilled fighter. I believe it's going to be a very close fight. The question is, does Danny hit hard enough to hurt Sean Porter? I think Sean's been hit harder and cleaner by Keith. I still think Keith hits harder than Danny. But that right hand that Keith hit Sean with was not that clean. But we've also seen when Sean Porter fought Adrian Broner, yeah, it was at 145 catch weight. Yes, Adrian had to play the catch weight game. But what we also seen was Adrian caught him with that left hook that dropped Sean. Danny Garcia has a damn good left hook. So if Sean gets careless. Wow. I like both men. I'm going to say this right now. I like both men. Both fighters I respect. I respect every fighter. But these two guys, I really love these guys. I love the whole Kenny Porter and Sean Porter deal. Father and son just busting their ass. They weren't the big stars. But they hustled. They bust their ass and got here. Same thing with Angel and Danny Garcia. They weren't the big Olympians with all the billion-dollar contracts and all the both of these guys are so similar on how they got here that I'm happy for them to be here and on this stage. And it's hard because regardless of who wins or who loses, I'm still going to be a fan of either one. And I'm still going to see them fight again. I personally love the way Sean Porter's fights because Sean Porter reminds me of a guy, Frank the Animal Fletcher. Frank couldn't punch worth a damn, but Frank would maul you, and Frank would just make the fights miserable. Only problem with Frank was, one, he couldn't punch, and two, he cut easily. I mean, Frank Fletcher would be bleeding on his way into the ring. Sean is a rough, rugged guy. I think Sean has pop, but I think sometimes Sean smothers his power. This is a tough one, folks, because, they're so evenly matched. There's so many things that Sean does well, but then Danny does things well enough to counteract a lot of what Sean does. But if I have to pick one, there's an old saying, I smell like smoke because I've been through fire. And I'm going to go that way. And I'm going to go with Danny Garcia by close decision because I think Danny's been in this situation. Danny has been here before. Look, whether we agree with it or not, Danny Garcia has been here before. And it's in the Matisse fights. It's in the fights with guys like Matisse. It's in the fights with guys, like even though he wasn't with Morales, even though Morales was the Morales of old, it's in those fights, the Khan fight, the Peterson fight. These are experience. These are things that he learned. These are fights that Danny's fought the better quality opposition. When Sean Porter has fought the better guys, the two best guys Sean Porter has fought in my opinion, on his ledger were Kell Brooks and Keith Thurman. He lost them fights. Danny Garcia has fought Eric Morales, Lucas Matisse when Matisse was something, Amir Khan when Khan was Zab Judah, and say what you want about Zab. Zab could still fight a little bit at 140. The Peterson fight and Thurman. That's 6 fights. 6 quality guys. Danny Garcia's lost once. Once. I think that there's certain times in certain fights you draw back. Sometimes things happen in a fight and you have to draw back. I don't think, Sean Porter beating up Andre Berto. Well, he beat up Andre Berto. Except for Devin Alexander, Devin Alexander beats up Andre Berto. Andre Berto's a shock commodity. I was shocked that Devin Alexander didn't knock his ass out. But I digress. Danny Garcia has been here before. Not saying that Sean Porter hasn't, but Danny Garcia has been here on the biggest stage. When Danny Garcia fought Keith Thurman, that's when I became a real believer in Keith Thurman, because Keith Thurman beat Danny Garcia. Because I actually picked Danny to win that fight. Because of the same reason I'm picking Danny here. He's been there before. There are moments in a fight that's going to happen where you haven't been prepared. And certain fighters rise to the occasion. Certain fighters don't rise to the occasion. Danny Garcia wants this. Danny Garcia needs this. I like Danny Garcia. I would not be shocked if Danny drops Sean Porter. And I know and I'm not saying Danny's going to walk away with this, but I think down the stretch, there's going to come a time in this fight where Danny Garcia is going to say, okay, now it's time. And he's going to revert back to things he's learned that Sean Porter hasn't learned. And you can't say, and these are things that he's learned in the ring as he's fighting. The guys like the Morales, the guys like Batista, the guy like Amir Khan. There are moments in those fights, the Herrera fight, the Peterson fight. There are things that happen in a fight that you as a fighter mentally keep with you. And and especially the Peterson fight, there's going to come a moment there where Danny Garcia is going to say, I've been here before. This is the Peterson fight again. What didn't I do? Oh, okay, I didn't finish strong. I think the first 10 rounds are going to be even and going to be close. Maybe a little edge here or there. But I think 11 and 12, Danny Garcia is going to turn it up. And Danny Garcia is going to do something I haven't seen done a lot. And that is Danny's going to put some work into Sean's body. Because while Sean's a big body puncher himself, I haven't seen too many people go to Sean's body. And I haven't seen Sean have to deal with getting hit with the body much. Danny, I think, is going to put that work into the body. Danny's going to be able to control Sean. Yes, Sean's going to have his moments. But I think Danny's hitting with short shots. Pop, pop. Even though Danny might not win a lot of those exchanges, it's the damage he's doing for later on in the fight. I think Danny Garcia skates by with a 115, 113-ish decision over Sean Porter, gets the WBC title. And we'll see Danny again sometime late in 2019. Just saying. I don't think the threat from Al Heyman to hold this fight in the spring is going early years going to happen. I think the earliest this fight happens in the summer. I think they said he's going to spring. It's going to happen in the summer. I think Danny's going to take some time off. I hope that Earl will get his ass back in the ring a couple times, which is what I'm upset about with Deontay Wilder. He's got this fight coming. I'm glad he's got the Fury fight. But I wish he would have fought between now and then. You know, while he's waiting around chasing Anthony Joshua, he should have fought again. And I hope that Earl Spence will continue to do what he's doing, not look ahead to the Danny Shaw one, but put some work in the interim. You know, I like Earl Spence. He looks special. But I need you to build up your body of work. You know, do I think Earl Spence could possibly be the future welterweight division? He could be, but then again, he could not be. I don't know. I haven't seen Earl Spence. If you look at resumes and the bodies of those resumes, right now, for my money, at welterweight, Danny Garcia, next to Manny Pacquiao, has the most complete resume. You know, if you take Pacquiao out of the equation, look at all the other welterweights in there, Danny Garcia has the best resume. Danny Garcia has fought the best people. And that's including Keith Thurman. He's fought the best people. He has the best resume. The only guy at 147 with a better resume than him is Manny Pacquiao. And the next one behind that would be maybe Crawford. And anybody who says Crawford has a better resume than Danny Garcia, I think you better really look at those records again. Because Danny Garcia, next to Manny Pacquiao, has the best resume at welterweight, has fought the best caliber of fighters. Now, has he accomplished as much as Keith Thurman? No, Keith Thurman is undisputed at 140. Keith Thurman holds a belt at 147 now. But Keith hasn't done, not Keith, I'm sorry, Terrence Crawford. Undisputed at 140, holds a belt at 147, but I look at the quality of the people he took those belts from, as opposed to the quality of the people that Danny Garcia is winning championships from. And unfortunately, the weakest guy Garcia won a title from was, I guess, Robert Guerrero, who I still think is better than, what the hell's the Australian boy, Jeff Horn. I still think Robert Guerrero the Robert Guerrero that fought Danny Garcia versus the Robert Guerrero that fought versus the Keith Horn that fought Terrence Crawford, Guerrero wins that fight. But I think Danny has the second best resume at welterweight. I think there's so much. Danny can do so many other things. I'm not saying that Sean can't, but I'm just saying, for what I've seen of both of these men, for what I've looked at, you know, I just think there's going to become a time, there's little intangibles, and experience matters. And I'm going to go with Danny there. And like I said, I'd like to see Earl start, you know, developing some more. I'd like to see Earl fight other people. I'd like to see Earl just fight. You know, just start fighting. Get in the ring. Start building your thing. I don't want to see Earl jump up to 160 and fight Canelo. I think that's freaking ludicrous. Even though I give Earl a hell of a chance to win that fight, I think it's just Canelo, another way for Canelo and Oscar to avoid Jamal Charlo. You know, it seems like they want to avoid Charlo as, you know, as much as possible. And who can blame them, you know? I mean, who could blame them? You know, that's my preview of this fight. Now, next Sunday, I will be back to put up my review of the fight. And, we will, I hope to get some questions. You know, I hope you guys, you know, hit me up on Facebook, hit me up, on email me, you know, let's, you know, get the conversation. And if you're one of these guys that want to bring race and everything, don't fucking bother, because I'm just going to delete your comment. I don't do the racist thing. Fighters are warriors. I don't care what color you are. If you can fight, you can fight. Point blank, bottom line. I like fighters. I like guys that can fight. You know, and if you can fight, you can fight. I don't care what color yours. I love Lomachenko, and I love Sergey Kovalev. I really would, you know, honestly, I want Kovalev to move up to cruiserweight. I would love to see Kovalev move up to cruiserweight and get that cruiserweight classic, because I think Kovalev could do well at cruiserweight. I think a lot of what Kovalev's problem is, aside of what the obvious, is I think he's just too damn big for light heavyweight. I think it drains him enough to get down to 175 pounds. I think Kovalev would be better at the 200-pound weight limit. I think he'd have less to lose. And I think that, you know, he'd be all right. But, of course, if he's not training and doing his shit he needs to do in the gym right, that's not going to help him either. But, I'm going to say it now. I will not be doing a review or anything of the Golovkin Canelo fight because I give no fucks about that fight at all. It's, I just don't. And I like Canelo. I like both guys, but I just can't. Not with that fight. If whatever happens in that fight, God bless them. Only thing I want to see from the winner is I just want to see how the winner of that avoids fighting Charlo and what the WBC does. The WBC did a good move here, but seeing the WBC, I want to see if WBC is going to stand up to Canelo and say, hey, you have to fight Charlo. I want to see if WBC stands up to Golovkin and say, hey, you have to fight Charlo. That's what I want to see. Does the WBC, because, okay, here's the thing. Okay, the first fight between Canelo and Golovkin was a draw. Let's just say Canelo wins this time. Well, okay, Canelo wins. Okay, so it's Canelo, now there's going to be clamoring on Golovkin's side for a rematch. So what happens here? Do we just keep Charlo on the back burner so he can have this third fight? Or do we say, okay, you can have your rematch, but, Charlo's, you got to fight Charlo first? Or does the WBC, or does, what happens? Does WBC say, well, you got the little interim silver title, go fight a bunch of guys there, Jamal, and pay Jamal some step-aside money, and you all go, whatever. Which I'm shocked that they didn't do it this fight, that they didn't Jamal Charlo say, whoa, get some step-aside money this time. But, it's the WBC. The point of the matter is, I'm not interested in anything Canelo Alvarez or Gennady Golovkin do until after this one, because the next move they make is what I'm interested in. Because Golovkin's already showed his cards. He could have easily, instead of fighting Vanes Monteroshi, he could have fought Devin Chacon and got that business taken care of. But no, he chose to fight Vanes Monteroshi, a guy that was at 154 pounds, that was inactive for 2 years. Really? Where he could have easily said, Devin Chacon, let's go. And I'm sure Devin Chacon's people would have been ready and they would have came in there and made that fight. And so what if it's on shoot? Come on, we're fighting on, you want to stay on Cinco de Mayo? Fine, we're fighting Cinco de Mayo, let's be ready. He had enough time to tell Devin Chacon, let's go. And then let Devin Chanko's people say, no, we don't want to fight. Okay, now you have your IBF belt because then they turned down the fight. But you didn't even do that. You went and fought Vanes Monteroshi. And then before that, you were trying to fight Jaime Munguia, who I still want to see more from him because he beat up what the hell is it? The boy he beat up for that WBO title. Whatever the hell is it. I don't even know his damn name. What's that? Saddam Ali. Beat up Saddam Ali, who I never thought much of anyways. And then he had life or death with the boy that, with this other, with Sullivan, with the, whatever the hell the boy is, name is, the boy, the British boy that Canelo beat. Anyway, the bottom line is, all I want to see from Canelo, from the Canelo Golovkin winner, is when they're going to fight Jamal Charlo. That's it. And then I'll cover you I'll cover that fight. But until then, I don't want to hear about Canelo fighting Earl Spence, Golovkin fighting Murata. If the name Charlo is not next, then I don't want to hear. And I want to see what the WBC does. I want to see what happens because I guarantee you, regardless of who wins, there's going to be a third fight. And what's going to happen? How long is how long is Charlo going to be hung out to dry? I want to see if the WBC holds up to its word that the winner here has to fight Charlo. Or does WBC say, well, we get more money if they go there? I want to see this WBC keep its word, or does Mauricio Suleiman between now and the fight week start waffling? And I hope that someone in the LDBC, Blue Blood, or barbershop conversations, I hope somebody that'll be at that fight, some member of the LDBC will be at the fight, put the pressure to Suleiman, to Mauricio Suleiman. Somebody say, oh, hey Mauricio, Charlo's next, right? For the winner. The winner's got to fight Charlo, right? And I want to see the backpedaling start. You're going to see him start backpedaling like Deion Sanders. You're going to see it because it's all about money. It's not about. We as boxing fans want to see the best fight the best. Understand that, and we do. But unlike the NFL, unlike the NBA, unlike Major League Baseball, there's no one there making these guys do what they should do. And when you got people like Mauricio Suleiman and these other corrupt governing bodies who look at the almighty dollar, I hope that one of the brothers from the LDBC that's there, whether it's Coach Shelton Harrison, whoever, Blue Blood, whoever, somebody from the LDBC, please, if you're down there at Fight Week, please put the question to this motherfucker. When you see Mauricio Suleiman, put the question to him. Don't do it now. Do it Fight Week. If you get there, if you can do it during Fight Week, the closer to the fight, get it. I don't care if you're there every day. Please put the question. Charlo's next, right? Hit him with it every day. Charlo's next, right? And just start to watch the backpedaling this motherfucker does between then and fight time. So when Jamal Charlo gets fucked over out of his title shot, you shouldn't be shocked. Because I can guarantee you, as soon as I'm going to wake up black tomorrow, when that fight, after the winner of Canelo Golovkin, they're going to have a rematch, and Charlo's going to get fucked. And they're going to start seeing the fucking of Charlo by Mauricio Suleiman starting to backtrack on Charlo's next. Right now, he said, oh yeah, the winner has to fight Charlo. Okay, winner has to fight Charlo. As the fight gets closer, Fight Week, let's see how that changes. I guarantee that starts changing. I would be willing to bet that changes. I hope I'm wrong. And this is one time I hope to be wrong. But I don't think so. I've been following this sport for too long to know. Especially with the WBC. Mauricio Suleiman is no different than his dad. To the highest buck goes my loyalty. So, unfortunately for Charlo, I don't know if he watches my thing or not. I don't know. I would be honored if he did. But, I unfortunately think that Charlo, I've said it before, he reminds me of this generation's Marvin Hagler. And a guy that is willing to fight anybody anywhere, and a guy that is too good, and that they're not going to just volunteer. Nobody's going to voluntarily ask to want to fight him. Now, okay, Danny Jacobs, Devinchenko winner. Okay, the Danny Jacobs Devinchenko winner is going to chirp about wanting to fight him, but they're going to say, oh, well, and the only reason they're going to do it is say, well, Jamal's on Showtime, we're on HBO, we're safe. The winner of Bubu Andrade, if Bubu Andrade wins against Billy Joe Sanders, he'll chirp about wanting to fight Charlo. He said, oh, I want the zone, I'm safe, so I can do that. Billy Joe Sanders, on the other hand, he might be shit. I'll fight him. He might talk about it, but he's a free agent, so he could possibly turn his ass up on Showtime. The point of the matter is, these guys are chirping about it, and they're chirping from the safe distance of their protected networks. But don't get it twisted now. If you fuck around, Steven Espinoza now will say, yo, Jamal, go pick up that belt and bring it on home, all right? And send Jamal at the door. Knock, knock. Just like when Deontay Wilder show up at your door with the bag. And you open that door, HBO, the zone. And there's Charlo with that bag saying, yo, let's do this fight. What the fuck you gonna do then? So Danny Jacobs, Golovkin Canelo, Andrade Sanders winner. You guys are all chirping about Charlo, and I love how this the quote unquote boxing media keeps disregarding what Mr. Charlo's done. And and it's kind of funny how you only disregard the fighters you're afraid of. That are afraid that are going to go after your personal pets. Dan Rafael, Dan Rafael's loyalty goes to whoever serves in the best buffet. It doesn't matter about boxing. Dan Rafael's one of them fat boys that fell into boxing. He wanted to be a writer for something else, couldn't get in there. And that's the problem with a lot of these boxing writers. A lot of these guys didn't want to be boxing writers. They want to cover other sports. And they fell into boxing because they said, what's open? Oh, boxing's open. Go do boxing. So Dan Rafael got into some half-assed knowledge, grabbed some videotapes, whatever. Arturo Gatti, yeah. Listen to Jim Lampley. And now he's on ESPN, and him and that stupid Steve Kim. A lot of these motherfuckers don't know what the hell they're talking about, man. And they try to tell me a guy that's been watching, that's participated in this sport, that's been watching this sport my whole life, that's participated in this sport my whole life, that this is my passion. I don't do this for money, for monetary. I do this because I love this. I love boxing. I love this sport is my passion. You know, and I hate these guys that don't love my sport back. That is it perfect? Absolutely not. It's combat sports, man. Life's not perfect. But we do want to see the best fight the best. And I'm tired of these quote-unquote boxing media people who don't know dick shit about boxing, who most of them fell into boxing because they could get no other job writing anyplace else, and then took boxing and they know nothing. And then they try to play the fans as idiots. Now I'm tired of these little millennial kids who just came to boxing, you know, and just came to boxing from 2012, like my man just said in his video, Blood Boxing Return said, man, I'm tired of these little millennials don't know shit about boxing, and these fighters that come on here and disrespect guys like Blood and these other gentlemen, these other brothers they were not new to this, we're shooters. We've been doing this shit forever. Before your punk ass was in the ring, we were watching the greats, the Alexis Aguilas, Roberto Durans. This is our era. Yes, we didn't catch Sugar Ray Robinson, but we caught Ali toward the end. We came up with Alexis Aguilas, Roberto Duran, Sugar Ray Leonard, Tommy Hearns, Aaron Pryor, Marvin Hagler, Michael Spinks, Matthew Saad Muhammad, Eddie Mustafa Muhammad. We came up with these brothers. Before when we came up, the Cruiserweight division was nothing. We were there when the Cruiserweight division was created. When Larry Holmes ruled the heavyweight division, Mike Weaver had the belt on the other side. We were there. So how the fuck are you motherfuckers gonna come on this platform, or any other platform, and tell any of us that have been doing this shit forever, watching it, participating in it, doing this, studying it, critiquing this shit? How the hell are y'all gonna come tell us some shit? Sit your fucking asses down, sit under the learning tree, because that's what we are. We're the old learning tree. You want to learn about boxing, talk to those of us. Because when we were coming up in the barbershops, another one for Fred, in the barbershops, that's where the realest boxing conversation was, and that's where a young head sat his ass down, asked his questions, and shut up and became a sponge and learned about the boxing business, learned about fighters, learned about it. But talk by being respectful and letting people that knew more than you school you. But you little Mayweather, a lot of these little panty waist little millennials this internet network, you motherfuckers think you know something. Y'all don't know shit, man. You go on Blood. If you're smart, what you do is you want to learn something, go check out Blood's videos. Go check out some of these other brothers got videos. The LDBC, the brothers in the LDBC. Listen to the Smoke Seed Mobcast. Listen to brothers that have been doing this shit for years, man. These brothers, a lot of these brothers like myself, we've been watching boxing since like the 70s. You know, we were there when every Saturday was Wide World of Sports with Howard Cosell. Most of you motherfuckers don't know who Howard is. We were there when Howard Cosell. We were there when the fight Dr. Freddie Pacheco was doing it on NBC. We were there when Gil Clancy and Tim Ryan were calling on CBS. We were there. We were there when there was no pay-per-view. There was closed circuit. You got to go to the movie theater to watch the fight. We were there. We were there when there were two champions, WNWC. We were there. We were there when Randall Cobb and when Larry Holmes beat the shit out of Randall Tex Cobb and retired Howard Cosell. We were there. We were there when Dooku Kim died. And they used that as an excuse to take away 13, 14, and 15. We were there. So young millennials, when you come on channels of some of these brothers of the LDBC and myself, whatever, come on, man. Either come with your lunch prepared to learn in your notepad, or don't come at all. Because we're going to hurt your feelings. You don't bring a knife to a gunfight, kids. You coming up against those of us that know boxing, you're bringing a knife to a gunfight, and we got automatics over here. Till next time, this is Doe Wilkes signing out.